Welcome back, everybody, and it's a wet one outside, and I want to welcome each and every one of you to this great 3-day weekend. Well, might be a little moist. So, even though we've started that vacation trifecta, might be a few folks maybe staying a little bit more closer to home. Anyway, today's report, Seattle has hit number one again, but this time for having the lowest inventory levels nationwide. Now, that is very similar to what we're seeing in a lot of other areas. And so they're not alone in this. And in fact, they've got, for our area, they have lots of company. So let's get the show on the road. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on. All right. So Seattle, according to Seattle Magazine, let's blow this bad boy up. Basically, it says, listen, Seattle's got super low inventory and they are phasing out any prospective buyers. Everybody's getting squeezed out. 2024, they're seeing the greater number of actual tenants, which is not uncommon. Well, when prices go up, interest rates have started to level out. We're going to run into a little bit of a hiccup with folks that are right on that cusp of being able to buy, but it's always kind of like that thing they're always reaching for that they can't get at. Super interesting. So when we take a look at our next slide here, let's go a little bit on the news side of things. Let's blow it up, in fact. So existing home inventories inch higher. Now, that is the case as we head into the vacation trifecta, not uncommon. It's seasonally normal. Bottom left, mini boom in refi apps continues. And that, again, is about right because we've seen some of the interest rates, mortgage rates coming back down. Now, here's the big one, bottom right. The Fed is no longer eager to cut rates, and the market knows it. That is absolutely true. In fact, as they have not seen the, inflation and other numbers that they are trying to get back down, they're not seeing that happen. And in fact, the housing industry is one of the things that keeps pushing that. And when they are not able to pull that down, then they're not going to drop mortgage rates. Now, that is going to have a systemic and rippling effect that is going to go out to a lot of the CRE or commercial real estate as those folks are vying and trying to get better rates. But at the Feds, which control commercial lending, if the Feds aren't reducing that rate, they are going to have problems because they're going to have liquidity issues. And, then banks are going to have to look at doing modifications or doing something a little different. Commercial is a completely different beast than residential, and how and what they were able to do is different. And they just have a few more digits tied behind them. All right, let's continue our little road show here. All right, so when we pop up here, we take a look at Freddie Mac. So Freddie Mac is actually doing pretty doggone well. This is their 7-day running average, and as you can see, we're down just a tad bit on their 7-day running average, but that's lagging a little bit. And I say that because really interest rates are in the real high sixes. Some of them actually have hit about 7.02, not 7.2, but 7.02. And they are just bobbling back and forth because the last couple of weeks we've had some very favorable rates, but they've also been just incrementally just bink, bink, bink going up. And then again, we will hopefully start seeing that come back down with some better reporting that's going to come out Wednesday following. So remember, mortgage rates are publicly traded. The Feds have nothing to do with them. Publicly traded, watch your mortgage-backed securities and your treasuries because that gives you a really good indicator of what mortgage rates are going to do. All right, moving on. So when we talk about inventory, we talk about what's going on in the Northwest MLS. As we can see here, again, condominiums aside, Seattle has the lowest housing supply in the nation. The inventory that does exist is priced out of reach for many of the residents. The majority of the Seattleites are renters in 2024. Yeah, okay. So it's not uncommon for Seattle and a lot of areas. But when we take a look at just the Northwest MLS, we can see that we've had 1,094 homes coming on market. But then when we come down, we've had 1,574 that went off. About 500 more homes went off market than came on market. And then, of course, sold was 1,046. So as we're looking at the inventory, as we're watching the velocity, we're seeing that surge that's going to happen again because rates also came down a little bit, which also increased the buying power, created a little bit more buyer activity. Then we move into, the slower times because, 3-day weekend here. A lot of people are taking vacations, getting gone. Then you have kids getting out of school or scheduling other vacations, nicer days. Then we have July 4th weekend, and then our market will start to pick back up. So between now and the July 4th weekend, mindsets aren't really on real estate. They're kind of elsewhere. And so you need to keep that in mind. If you're actively on the market, and you are not getting as many showings as you feel you should look at price. Because remember, price is the indicator of what is going on. Ask the agent that you're working with, take a look at how many people actually have your home in their auto email, that update that is out there. Then how many people have looked at it, okay? And then how many people saved it as a favorite as possible. Because if you have, let's say, 137 people that your home, it fits that criteria, 97 of them have looked at it, and you're not getting an offer, you're overpriced. That's all there is to it. Because the market is clearly saying no. So keep that in mind as you're looking at it. It's a great tool to get a very clear perception of what the buyers think of your home. If you got a bunch of people that have it in their portal, you have a bunch of people that are looking at it, and you have no offers, what do you want me to say? Anyway, moving on. All right, as we take a look at our next chart here, if you like really good, accurate information, look, subscribe. We're a small channel. We're trying to grow to get out to more people. There's no cost. It is consistent metrics. Hey, you can take me all the way back to 2007. Well, I think we deleted some of those. But somebody went back to 2017 and said, oh my gosh, it's funny how accurate you are. We are. We do this every week. We keep things in tune so that you can make the best business decision possible. Let's talk a little bit about this chart. Now, this is a chart on the upper side that says, here is the average active or for sale price. Now, what's interesting is when we take a look at this week over week, in fact, let me blow this up a little bit bigger. Nope. Can I? Yes. There we go. All right. We can see that the year to date, the average list price is actually down over last week. It's down $2,000. However, even though we are up 10.8% and year to date, our list price, our sold prices are up $3,000. Month over month for the same month of May, only 2023 versus 2024, we're actually down $6,000. That's an important thing because what we're starting to see is that downward trend, and a lot of that is new construction as people are starting to pull back a little bit. We're not seeing some of the incentives, some of them are, and our inventory, which has peaked up a little bit. In fact, let's head over to that chart. Let's blow this one up. All right. When we take a look at this, all of our numbers in the positive for the first time in a long time. In fact, let me make that a little bigger. You can see that our inventory is up 28%. That's about 2,200 homes. All right. When we take a look at new on market versus last year, we're up 15%, roughly about 4,000 homes. However, when we look at pending, the very bottom line, we're up 3.3%, which is a few hundred homes, which is about on target. And we're seeing that, hey, we are getting as many on market as are going off, or very close to it on the average as we're running down. And what's important about that is it tells us that we are closer to a balanced market between buyers and sellers. It's probably just weighted just a tiny little bit towards a seller because our inventory is limited. But as you can see right here, the buyers are keeping pace with it, right? And we're not seeing just absolutely crazy numbers. In fact, on our Wednesday training with the team, we went back to 2017 and people were like, holy smokes. I mean, 18,000 homes, 22,000 homes. We're at 10,000 homes, which is the most inventory we've had in a long time. But we are still only at 1.8 months of inventory, not the 2 to 4, 2 to 3 months that we should be seeing, what they say should be our new norm. I'm saying 2 months is probably going to be just about right for the very balanced between buyers and sellers. So we're doing really well. If we had a flood of homes come on, that would be, I think, more of a buyer's market, but it's not. Even though we're seeing that seasonally normal bump, this is going to be normal. But again, sellers, if you're coming on market, remember, it's going to be a little slow until after July 4th weekend. Keep that in mind. All right. So we pop over and we take a look at new construction. New construction, super important. One, we're still seeing these incentives. These are the same ones that are published like last week. We're seeing them again based on rate, based on credit to get that going. Why? It's month end. If you are super smart and you understand that they need to close out the month, now is the time to be looking at new construction, greatest amount of incentives. Make sure the agent you're working with understands and knows how to work with a builder. Not just say, hey, do you know how to work with a builder? Of course they're going to say yes. Ask them, how do they get more for you? That is the key question to ask. That actually was posted to me last week. They said, yeah, I talked to my agent. And they said, yeah, we work with builders. And I said, okay, ask them, how do you get me more? What do you ask? And they got crickets. Keep that in mind. Listen, there are technical ways of doing things. Remember, good agents aren't cheap, and cheap agents are not good. Remember that. Okay, moving on. New construction. Let's blow this bad boy up. Now, when we take a look at this, again, when we look at pricing, what is active on the market versus what has sold, you can see that year to date, we're only up about $1,000 over where we were at last year, which is right on par. And that tells me we are spot on. Here's the however. We move over and we take a look at our numbers. We have 6.8% more homes available, but we've actually stepped back a little bit. In fact, let's head up the next one here. And you can see, even though we have 6% more inventory, we're actually lagging both in sales and in actual pended sales. Now, we're only talking about, 60 homes, 58 homes. It's not a ton, and it's nothing to get worked up about, but it is lagging just a little bit. And again, because we're monitoring the trends, we're anticipating seeing that, because you see, new construction was actually at a 20, almost 30% of our inventory level, which was extremely high. We're now back down to the 11, 12%, which is a normal. So we're seeing more people going and pursuing some of the existing construction that's going on because it is less costly. Yes, the interest rates are better, but the actual net results of the cost and that perception of value, and for sellers, remember, price is the first impression. And that perception of, hey, I could get this home, it's almost brand new, or they've done the updates, but I don't have to spend that 5, 8, 10% more for a new house versus existing homes. Keep that in mind. Bigger lots, things like that. And that is playing a big role in things. All right, moving on. Let's take a look at bank owned. Again, bank owned, super boring. Nothing new. A lot of the credit unions and banks out there that we were working with, are going, yay! Why? Because we're not seeing much inventory. There's, again, because of the limited inventory, because of different workout options, these guys are actually able to get in there and get things modified if there are. And look at that. In fact, let's blow this up for you. All right, here we go. Technically today, there are 50 active REO properties. And yes, we still have 8 of them on the wall of shame. I cannot believe these people. Unbelievable. If I was the seller working with those agents, you may want to reconsider, because what a painful thing to have to realize that people think that you're a bank-owned home, and that's one of the reasons you may not be moving, other than price. Anyway, so as far as REO levels, we are like super low. We're not even anywhere near what the average should be as far as homes available, because this is 3/4 of Washington State. There's 42 homes. That's peanuts. That's nothing. 3/4 of Washington State? Ha! Anyway, if you have any questions, make sure that you reach out, and we just love, love, love questions. Smash that subscribe button. Let us know. Share it with 2 people that you like. Share it with 1 person you don't like. It just helps them to get really good information. If you have questions, again, ask us. And in the meantime, I'll see you on the next video. You have an absolutely beautiful long weekend. Happy Memorial Day. Take care.